Welcome to the Investing Podcast presented by Tusk Media. The final bell has rung and the market is now closed. So let's move on to an audio and video recap with the Investing Happy Hour.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Investing Podcast. It's Monday, starting a new week. I know you already got one of these bad boys earlier, but we're back for more. Can't keep us away. I'm Andrew Hall. Joining me as always in the afternoon, the unit, Mr. Matt Krebsbach. What's up, dude?
Yep. What up?
Good weekend?
Yeah. Like Ben said, a lot of tennis. Yeah. I was pretty tired yesterday.
Yeah, Ben said he played a whole lot of tennis.
Yeah, he played more than I did too.
It sounded like he was making an excuse. That's what it sounded a lot like to me. But we're here. We made it through the weekend. Fun week ahead for Narwhal. We're here grinding. We're going to take off a little bit early on Friday, heading up for a corporate retreat. That's what we're calling it. A lot of meetings, a lot of things on the agenda, heading up to the lake.
Portfolio meetings up there.
Yeah, a long weekend. We're definitely going to make some pretty awesome podcasts, maybe some video content too. We'll see. So should be fun. We'll hit a couple things. Kind of a slow day in the market. Market was up though across the board. Dow up 58 bips, S&P up 52, NASDAQ up 26, global Dow down just a little bit. Gold was basically flat, oil down about 1.3%. So interesting day. I know you got a really thorough midday look for those out there, but one thing we wanted to draw your attention to, the Tusk Bump. That's right, when we talk about stocks that go up. Ben and Sam both kind of bemoaned GameStop, and GameStop closed up almost 1%. Thoughts on the Tusk Bump in general?
And it opened the day down 1%.
Yeah.
Too. I don't know if you noticed that.
Yeah, the Tusk Bump is real. Do you think?
Yeah.
I think I don't want to say we're driving the market, but I do want to say that we're driving this performance of individual stocks.
Mm-hmm.
Don't tell John, our Chief Compliance Officer, that I said that because it's not remotely factually accurate. But I feel like it's a nice little thing when you start tracking every idea we mentioned in the morning, every idea we mentioned, and just see open and close. We're not always right about it. I mean, understand we were saying bad things about GameStop and the stock rally, but the Tusk Bump is real. What
was your stance on GameStop? You weren't, because us three talked about that quite a bit. Mm-hmm. Was that Friday?
Yeah, Friday. That's pretty neutral on it.
I know those two don't like it. At all.
Yeah.
Well,
I missed some of the conversation Friday, but even on the news, I mean, I think there were some frustrations, and I know they touched on this in the video, that guidance wasn't altered, that they kind of said, hey, everything's good, we're going to maintain the same pace, same track. But I do think it's kind of a cyclical industry where you really do, I guess every industry is somewhat cyclical, but GameStop, as you might imagine, is really kind of driven by games and gaming platforms, and I think it's something to keep an eye on. We still hold it. I'm okay holding it.
Especially like you said, in a cyclical thing, in a down quarter, it's always the worst quarter of the year.
Right.
And they still met earnings. Mm-hmm. Their gross margins were better than last year.
Yeah.
It's just sales are down, and I don't think that's a reason to freak out.
Yeah. And it's also a pretty volatile stock.
Yeah.
So you kind of get some choppiness. Yeah, I'm not.
And you
panicking.
get the retail perspective too, and retail is just all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I'm not panicking. I think what we should do is just talk about GameStop every day. Let's bump it on.
Sure.
Bump it on up. Hershey. Interesting little post-market story going on here. I think it proves Colin Kaepernick's comments that he made over the weekend that there is some institutionalized discrimination against chocolate. Tell everybody what's going on.
So?
Yeah.
Well, I was looking at Hershey a couple of months ago, before, Mondelez, the other snack company, showed interest. They wanted to buy him out, and I don't know if you know Hershey at all, but a ton of that ownership is in a trust or something, and they can't really do anything without approval of that trust. And I don't think they had approval, so they announced after hours that they're not pursuing that anymore, and it fell 9%.
Yeah. So it's really, which it also, I feel like when that deal or the speculation was initially announced, it got a pretty big spike right off the bat as well. So it's kind of one of those.
They probably went back to normal.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
So kind of back to par for the course. But if you were playing that, it's almost like the people that benefited were people that held it and then sold it on the rumor. Which I don't know if that's how that saying goes or not. But
and I think that merger would have made a lot of sense because Mondelez has a ton of international exposure, and they want to get into the U.S. market more, which Hershey kind of has a good hold on.
Yeah.
But I guess they didn't.
So
feel the
they
same
disagreed.
way.
Yeah. Last story we've got here is it's not a big one, but Anthony Weiner, third Anthony Weiner scandal. It's kind of unbelievable. We're going to keep this conversation classy and sophisticated and just make this about everything like we do with everything else. We're going to make it about gambling. So far, we have had 3 sexting scandals involving Anthony Weiner and his genitalia. So number 3, over under. Like, what's your peg on how many more of these things we're going to see over the course of Weiner's livelihood? I'm setting the number at 3.5. We're going to have 3.5 more.
3.5 more from him?
Yeah.
I'll go under than that. But
I'm pounding the over.
How many do you think he's actually sent total?
Thousands. Thousands. I don't know. I do think at some point, if we want to graph this out, at some point, the percentage that you get away with, so your freedom over time has to start declining. So it seems like for a while, like, hey, 99% of what he was doing was unreported.
Right.
But as you start to, like, 1 incident, 2 incidents, 3 incidences, it does seem like incident 4, kind of right where we are now. Like, pretty much every time you send one, it's going to get reported. You're not going to get away with very many. That's, you would think.
Are you an expert in this?
I don't know. I'm still in that zero phase. 0 Weiner photos sent, 0. That's the best way. If you don't want to get caught in a sexting scandal, just don't do it. Just throwing that out there.
That's good advice.
Yeah. You can't get in trouble for something you didn't do. I guess you can, but not often. But yeah, so Anthony Weiner, over under is 3.5. We're going to track this. We're going to have intern Garrett track this. Maybe even get him to
scour the internet for
maybe get him to catfish Anthony Weiner down the road, see what happens, see if we can drive that number up. But I think 7.5 career Anthony Weiner scandals of this lone variety is probably a pretty safe number. That's my thought. This is the Investing Podcast, believe it or not. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll do a better job. And y'all have a great night.
Tusk Media is a subsidiary of Narwhal Capital Management. Ratings and reviews of Tusk Media content are not to be construed as endorsements of opinions, analysis, or services offered by Tusk or its parent company. The opinions and predictions shared here are professional beliefs at the time of publication. We are not under duress from any of the corporate entities mentioned. This is not a solicitation to take any particular action. Although we are investment advisors, this information should not be considered investment, legal, or tax advice. We strive to be as impartial, insightful, and accurate as possible. We base our opinions, analysis, and calculations on information we believe to be reliable, but we cannot guarantee its accuracy. We can, however, guarantee that our opinions will sometimes be flat out wrong due to a variety of factors. Employees and clients of Narwhal Capital Management may or may not hold positions in the securities detailed and may or may not hold these positions in the future. A full list of all securities purchased, sold, or held during the 12 months preceding the date of this publication can be provided upon request. Unless otherwise noted, all data accessed via MarketWatch or the Bloomberg terminal. Past performance does not guarantee future results. A copy of Narwhal's Form ADV is available at the SEC's website, www.advisorinfo.sec.gov, or from Narwhal upon written request.